using AI to diagnose your car. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. Joining us from a company called Sparq, Sparq, our founders Daniel Nieh and Codrin Cobzaru. How are you doing, guys?
We're doing well. Thank you for asking, Fred, and thanks for having us on your channel.
All right. Well, let's start with an overview of what Sparq is.
Spark, we are a tech company that is in the automotive AI space. We have a device called Spark AI that is capable of transforming any existing vehicles from 2010 and newer, soon 1996 and older, into an AI that allows car owners to directly communicate with it. And what that means in layman terms is for the first time ever, your vehicle will be able to directly communicate with you and tell you what it needs as a driver based on your driving experience, your driving behaviors, as well as the vehicle that you drive.
Interesting. It sounds like it could be interesting for parents as well of teen drivers, perhaps. But step us through the process of using it, from opening it up to getting it started.
Absolutely. So all you have to do is when you receive our product is plug in. We have a device called Spark Diagnostics. It's an OBD2. It utilizes the OBD2 platform to connect into your vehicle. What you do is when you receive the product, you connect the OBD2 scanner inside your vehicle. Not only can it run real-time diagnostics, but it also allows real dynamic data to be translated directly to you in simple and plain English. So you plug the device in, you connect the device with the app from App Store directly through Bluetooth. And that's how it works. Once it's connected through Bluetooth, you will be able to communicate with your vehicle, whether through Spark AI, run more than 50,000 independent inspections on your vehicle through the diagnostic portion, or even time lapse, which we had debuted back during our product launch in February of this year. But that will soon be made available to the public in the next few weeks.
Let's take a look at a little video snippet.
Hello, Alexia. I'm Spark AI, your friendly vehicle maintenance support. How can I assist you with your Volkswagen Golf R today?
When do I need my next oil change?
Your Volkswagen Golf R is due for its next oil change at 5,000 miles, so you have about 2,600 miles to go. Along with the oil change, a routine inspection of brakes, fluids, tires, and the battery is recommended.
All right. So tell us the story behind it. I don't know. Do you want to jump in, Codrin?
Yes, of course. So the story behind it was pretty straightforward. Both Daniel and I were in Colorado when my wife came at home pretty much like crying that she was taken advantage of by a mechanic, and so she felt quite powerless, right? And so we looked at we looked at the situations, like what is going on here, like what has prompted the situation from being an issue in the first place. Of course, I've experienced wrongdoings in the automotive industry, care industry, and I never thought much of it, right? Because I always thought, oh, I'm the newcomer, right? Like, hey, I'm a new face, but I never thought that to be an issue with folks that you already have a relationship with, which was the case for my wife. She's already been going to the same mechanic for the past 5 years. And so that's when we drew the line. If folks are taking advantage of everyday drivers after they have an already established experience, it's a free for all. And so we wanted to change that. We wanted to make sure that that never happens again. And after looking at the solutions on the market, nothing felt quite right in terms of simplicity and depth of information to help understand what's going on, so you can make more informed decisions when it comes to what's going on with your vehicle and what are the upcoming services that you should
So
be considering.
how is this so different from other diagnostic service devices?
So most tools out there are rather focused on the technical side of it, and we definitely do a lot of that behind the scene. For us is to distill those insights into actionable information, right? That it's most tools just tell you, hey, here's the code P0191, and then you need to spend hours trying to figure out on forums and whatever it's going on out there on the internet. For us, when we pick up the code, that's usually when our job starts. And so we use that information, and not just the code itself, because the same code across different cars could mean different things. We take the context about that specific vehicle and the code and communicate to you in a way that's easy to understand. And so from that point on, you can actually ask follow-up questions, as technical or as shallow as you want them to be. And from that point on, like we can educate you so you get a better understanding of what's going on with your vehicle.
And right now, this is iOS only. Is that right?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
For the time being, we're focusing on making sure that we're getting the experience right, and in the future we'll also explore the Android ecosystem as
Yeah.
well.
It is part of our roadmap within the year to expand into supportability into Android devices outside of iOS platform.
And what about you mentioned that you'll be able to go back to even older cars in the future. When might that come? And again, how far back will you be able to
So
go?
actually, just today we're having conversation about expanding beyond the 2010 limit that we currently have set. It's primarily because that's what we have tested, and we're confident that we can provide a premium experience. And we are going to be very soon, within the next 2 weeks, drop it to 2008. And we are proactively testing. There are different protocols, without getting too technical. There are different protocols that happened before 2008, and we just want to make sure that the experience on the end user is premium. And so it's just a matter of testing enough data sets across multiple vehicle year models, whatever it may be, and make sure that the experience is the way we want them to be. But we feel confident, especially with the enhancement that we will be making for the hardware, to pick up the older vehicles as well.
And
Now,
this would be with the existing hardware or just through an update or?
Correct. Correct. So when our strategy when it comes to coverage is going to be a dynamic rollout that we continually build and support on when it comes to supportability. But as Codrin mentioned, we have now in the next few weeks, we are planning to expand into 2008 and newer vehicles, and soon, probably within the year, it is part of our plan to expand it all the way down to 1996. That will be the oldest year vehicle that we will be able to support, and that also marks the beginning and the implementation of OBD2 ports inside vehicle under federal regulations.
it's worth mentioning, Fred, that with every older year that we're going after, the data is more limited. They don't have access to the same amount of sensors, and so obviously, as a result, the insights are a bit more limited than for the newer vehicles. But nonetheless, it is a part of our focus to bring the functionality, the Sparq AI functionality for all users.
Very interesting. So tell us about the financial model behind this. I went on your website and it said you're giving these away, the devices. So tell me how this works.
Correct. So our current strategy is because we are still very early in the market, and our confidence level when it comes to the disruption of the technology, as well as the benefit that we're able to bring to the everyday driver, we full-heartedly stand behind that. So similar to the strategy with Dollar Shave Club, what we're offering for our founding members is a complimentary device that we give out until with a limited promotion due to the success that we have received from our initial debut at LA Auto. So we're giving the devices away for free. Most importantly, there are two things that we need to mention is we would never monetize. We never monetize on our users' personal data. And on the second note is we don't charge any kind of reoccurring subscription fees or any upgrade fees within the usage of the app.
So there's not a subscription right
Correct.
attached to it. So
Correct.
people who get the devices can plug them in and start using it with the app right away.
Absolutely. And they will have access to the full feature and the full scale of our feature and functionalities within the app for lifetime. So we provide lifetime support.
There is a catch, Fred. Given that it's our debut, right? In the late November last year, 2024. Feedback would be greatly appreciated. And so, as Daniel mentioned, for us, we're still an early player in the space, right? And we don't claim we know it all. And the way to make this the best product ever is if we hear back from users like, hey, this worked, we would love this. And so the only thing people have to provide feedback is literally just shake their phone, and they will have options to communicate to us directly. No robots, no AI, no nothing. Is literally communicating with our team, with us directly. Even Daniel and I are available over those pretty much 24/7, responding to user queries and making sure that the folks can get the premium experience. And this is just the beginning of the items we have planned ahead. We're quite excited about what's coming up.
And I assume you're hoping that there'll be a lot of word of mouth from this too.
If you love what we're doing, of course there is the reason we're doing it is because there was nothing in the space that was scratching the itch that we had, the problems that we have experienced. And so if folks rally behind the mission that will and the product that we have built, of course, if they think people in their network would also get the benefit off of using it, or they would like to leave a review, that will mean the world. But of course, we're not gonna. That's not part of the things we request. It's if you're feeling like that's something you want to do and help us, that would be greatly appreciated.
There is a shipping and handling charge. Typically, that would run about how much?
That would be $20. $20 for the device.
For the shipping and handling, and then there's not a subscription, and you can start talking to your car and finding out how it's feeling, I suppose.
Exactly, exactly. And one thing that's worth for us to mention as well is that we do not limit any of our users to be connected to a particular vehicle. If you have a single device, what you can do as a user on our platform is you can simply unplug the Sparq diagnostics and plug it into any other vehicle, whether it's owned by you, rental, lease vehicle, a friend of yours. The list goes on and on. All you have to do is unplug and plug into another vehicle. And right at the moment, you'll have instant access to the vehicle's complete health status and the AF functionality just within the app. When time lapse becomes available, any users will be able to use it as a pre-purchase inspection and plug it into the vehicle and have the complete history of that car right at their fingertips.
And it's worth mentioning that this functionality, it's available, and other players in the market, you're asking how we differentiate, would ask per device, per car, a different charge, and it's usually some sort of subscription, some sort of hook. And so for us, you have that flexibility, but it's also worth mentioning that we do encourage folks to keep it plugged in, and get the device per car. So then if something push comes to shove, right, if anything happens, you're stranded on the side of the road, you know exactly what's happening. If there was some engine light popping, it's like, oh heck, I have the device in a different car. Of course, there's a lot of freedom that comes with just having it and leaving it plugged in and getting those insights on the go. But you do have the flexibility, as Daniel mentioned, to unplug and plug it into different vehicles with no charges whatsoever.
When and how do you plan to monetize this to make money?
Well, Fred, I think right now it's still way too early for us to determine our pricing model as well as how our plans to monetize because the product is currently only about 3 months old and we have barely scratched the surface yet when it comes to the level of impact that we are planning on bringing not only to the industry but also for the everyday driver. So I believe that there are a lot of cool ways for us to explore ways for monetization as well as our revenue model. But right now we're still figuring that portion out because more importantly for us currently is to figure out what are the needs of our users within this industry, especially in automotive, for us to refine that, come up with exciting features for it. And the reason why we're able to do that is because we are backed by angel investors and VCs that allows us to have to focus on the bigger vision rather than looking at what is the soonest way or the shortest route to monetization.
Yeah, and we want to show love to the folks that show love to us in the early days. And so if it means for us to lose money, but folks to experience and then give us feedback, of course, if they resonate with what we're building, that means the world to us. And over time, as Daniel spotted, we believe that especially, I mean, they're a little bit over 200 million the people and vehicles in the in US. There's no shortage of folks that would benefit off of the device, and so monetizing just selling the device as it is would definitely be a great revenue stream. But as Daniel pointed out, a lot of the practices in the space revolve around monetizing users' private data information, and so that's something that is core to our mission and just culture as a whole, to like ensure that the privacy is the foundation of everything we build, and that's not something that we'll ever dip our toes in.
Might you wind up with auto parts partners or that kind of thing to
As
provide
as long
info
as
to users?
as long as the users make it clear that that is a value proposition that they would be interested in, we would be open to exploring it. We're staying rather, the beautiful thing about Sparq is that we will have context about what is going on with your vehicle, and you will get to choose what you want to do with that information. And if that is working with a third party service centers or auto parts or whatever it may be, well, ultimately the power is going to be in the end of the user. And for us, like, our mission is to make sure that those places that we are recommending are indeed vetted, so we can put our name behind it to when we make those recommendations. But we're a little bit ways away from that specific venue specifically, but since you brought it up, we thought it would be worth putting some context.
And the use of AI here, are there particular models that you are using
That's a great.
to for
Mhm.
the interface?
So that's a great question. A lot of it revolves, there are plenty of solutions out there. We're using our own custom, we tailor the information, so use a multitude of LLMs depending on the task that needs to be completed. So some of them are better at communicating, some of them are better at like fetching specific information from the internet, some of them are better at aggregating the details of the context provided by the user, or the context that we have about the vehicle as a whole. And so what the foundation of our AI model is training it on knowledge in the automotive space. So you literally have a mechanic in your pocket, right? Like a tap away. That's what we're striving for. And so from that point on, from that level of detail, of foundation, we're actually adding even more detail, not about just cars in general, but that your specific vehicle, your specific year, make, model, and how that specific car has been behaving across other users within our ecosystem. And so what we're working towards is making your car care experience proactive, versus where the market currently is just something bad happens, right, and you're just reacting. Usually it's more expensive. And so a lot of our focus is taking all the elements into consideration and aggregating into our AI, so that you can spot the patterns in the behavior of the vehicle before an issue actually happens, and be able to notify you. Now we're still ways away from releasing that to the public, but that is definitely part of the scope of the AI. So what I I mean, that's a short story long, short answer long, right? Short story long. But it's ultimately about it's not so much because the end user doesn't really care what LLM is. It's what can it do for me. And so from that perspective is how we approach it, and use whatever solutions are out there on top of like our custom built solutions to provide the best value proposition for the.
For more info, where should people go?
For any additional information, feel free to visit our website. It's www.joinsparq.com.
So we talked a little bit about how you got started, but I think there's a little deeper story here. So let me ask you, how did you guys meet and how did this happen?
So we actually met in the entrepreneurship class all the way back in high school, and it became quite apparent that both of us had interests that didn't really align with the other folks our age. Just to say that a lot of times we'll break things apart, look at the sales strategies, business plans, and really dive deep. And we were quite fortunate that we were in this small town in Vermont, so it wasn't really much to do for us other than explore our creative thinking process.
So were you tinkering with the electronics too, or how? How's this?
Yeah,
100%. Go ahead, Nick.
Codrin and I during our free time, especially after our academic programs, what we would do always is we would not only tinker with electronics, but basically any part that is disassemblable, we would just disassemble it and play around and tinker with a lot of parts, whether that be, mechanic parts, electronics, woodworking, things of that. And we're also known as the Trouble Kids back in the day. And we've known each other for around 12 years, or a little less than 12 years, about 10 years now, since we met in high school.
We were taking robotics class together, and so we had engineering, if I remember correctly, engineering design and robotics, like literally and we're also part of the robotics club. So after
Where's
hours,
robotics?
yeah, we were tinkering with these robots. It was just the thing to do. It didn't seem, I mean, now thinking back, felt like quite a geek thing to do, but we we were spending that time, and it was just passing by like without even noticing.
Just amazing. So from the robotics and the robotics competitions and just fun after school, spending your time that way, all of this has developed, and we wish you lots of success. The website again is joinsparq, SPARQ.com. Daniel and Codrin, thanks for spending time with us.
Thank you,
Thank
Fred.
you,
Thanks
Fred.
for having us.